Hi, fellow traders. What's happening? I hope you guys had a good day today. Hump day, always a fun day. But, 3 good days in a row. I haven't been seeing that often. It's not that I haven't had 3 green days in a row, but I haven't had 3 really good days in a row. So that's exciting. I don't know if that's a product of my vacation and renewed focus. Maybe that's what it is, because I don't see any different than the market. I just see difference in my mindset and my mentality when I hit the market every morning. So maybe I need to schedule smaller vacations more often. But what I got here is some lyrics from a song. I doubt if any of you have ever heard the song before, but it says, "Too busy eating my own fruit to see if yours is sweeter. Too busy watering my own grass to see if yours is greener. I need a celebration, celebrating hella patience. I was down, but now I'm up. I'm celebrating elevation." And that is perfect. As perfect as perfect can be. As a trader, your mind needs to be on your own fruit, not what everybody else is producing. It needs to be on what you're producing. If your fruit's sour, if it don't look good, then you need to cultivate it. Don't go looking at somebody else's, because their soil is probably different than yours. Where they're planting it is going to be different from where you're planting it. So you just have to kind of focus and make sure you're doing you. You've got to make sure you water your own grass, because your grass can die while you're paying attention to other people and what they're doing. It's really, really important. And believe me, I know. Okay, I went looking at somebody else's grass. When I first started out, I started looking at all this green grass. But guess what? When I got to that green grass, guess what I realized? It was AstroTurf. It wasn't grass at all. It was AstroTurf. I went looking at other guys' fruit because it looked sweeter. Their trays looked sweeter. Everything looked sweeter. I got there, and guess what I found out? Fruit was plastic. Just like the grass, it was fake. So don't fall for that stuff. I'm not saying everything is. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that a lot of times when you start not paying attention to what you have and start looking at what somebody else is showing you that they have, oftentimes you end up getting deeper in the hole. So always keep that in mind. So I printed up these lyrics, to this song, and I'm putting this, and as soon as I can find an empty spot on one of my monitors, it's going there. I got too many sayings to try to keep me focused. All right, so I had 4 stocks on watch. One of the things that I'm focusing on going forward this quarter and into the end of the year is only putting those stocks that meet my criteria on watch. For the last several months, I have been putting stocks on that didn't meet my criteria, that basically would follow the market. I would get in, the market would shift, my trade would shift, and it would kill me. I mean, it just made it so frustrating. But I realized these last 3 days, the trading has been so effortless. They haven't been perfect, but it's been effortless. I haven't been frustrated, because I'm trading stocks that have their own catalyst. I could care less whether the market's going up or down. It doesn't matter, because these stocks are moving to their own catalyst. So with earnings coming up, I'm going to have a lot of stocks on earnings. I like analyst upgrades or downgrades, those type of things. News that has some substance that I could trade on. And, Delta Airlines was one that reported earnings this morning. And, unfortunately, it just didn't trade very well. It had room to the long side because it was, kind of a blue sky breakout, so to speak. So it had some room to the long side, but I didn't see any room to the short side. And, unfortunately, it went short. And so it didn't have enough measured potential for me to take the trade. Now you could see, here's the, here is the 5-minute opening range low. You can see this is red to green. This is yesterday's close. Not going to short into that. Here's the low yesterday when the market closed. You could see why I respect that. Look at it. It bounced once and twice. It actually bounced twice off of this level before it sold off. So this was significant. So there was no trade on this to the short side until you got through that. And then there was some more support down here on the 60-minute chart that made it to where I wasn't interested. So you could see we didn't even make $1 once it broke. And you can see how choppy it was. It was just an ugly trader. But it was on watch because it met the criteria. It just didn't trigger, a clean entry. The other stocks, the other 3 stocks I had on my watch, I actually took a trade on. And we'll go through those. PTON, this was the first trade out of the gate. You can see it did break down early. This is where I wanted to get it at the open. I was hoping that it would wait. I would have been in up here around 116. But I had to wait. This is the sell candle that happened before the market opened. And then the market opened. We made this big push up where it tested resistance up here. And once it started selling off, once it came back through, we were on. And hit a couple of profit targets here. Didn't quite get to the last one. I think it was 112.75 or something was the last one. But it bounced and, kind of came all the way back. So I took it off. There was a little profit stop there, but a really nice trade. Effortless, kind of stress-free. Once I take profit, I could care less. I'm stress-free on it. Whatever it hits, it hits. If it doesn't, then we move on. I'm green. That's all that matters. So, that's what happened there. Microsoft was the one that jerked me around. This was perfect. I mean, this was a perfect entry, perfect breakout. This was, it was after 10 o'clock. Maybe I should have waited for confirmation, because typically the 10 o'clock hour is the cutoff for me buying on the break versus waiting for confirmation. But I thought this was strong. I thought the volatility was still strong, that we could make this move up towards 285. And, and this was a blue sky breakout. This was a previous 52-week high. Right here, this was pre-market high. I mean, we were good to go. But it got up here and failed and came right back. It tried to push again, but it failed again. And, it came on back. So that was that. Took a hit on that. Wasn't much. I think it was between $150 and $200, I think, is the stop I had on it. But this is what you have to do. Manage your risk. Once a stock tells you it's done, you get out. Here we rejected. We didn't make a higher high on this candle. And we sold through all of these. It was time to get out. And if it bounced and kind of settled itself back in, I could have gotten it again. But it just didn't follow through. So the big trade of the day was BA. All right, I'm going to come back to this 60-minute chart in a minute. All right, so BA. Here's a 5-minute opening range low. This candle actually closed below this. And so this candle confirmed taking out the 5-minute opening range low. I got in first target, and in BA fashion, it bounced. Took me out, back out at break even, and then it started to come back. Just like before, you can always get back in once it takes out the low. I got in. This was the target I wanted. After this one, I got it, and it didn't sell through. You can see. And here's what I try to point out to you guys every day when we're trading. When you start to see these candlesticks, look, the sentiment is changing. You can see it in the spread. You can see it in the candlestick formation. You can look at the 2-minute chart and look at the candle change on it. And it's telling you that, hey, we're slowing down. We're reacting to this support. Like, I didn't even have to have this line here. I could look at this price action and tell that we're running into support. And that's why I always say your best indicator is going to be your eyes. Because sometimes we may not have a line anywhere and it just runs into support and it starts to grind. And the smart thing for you to do is respect that level and bail out. If it comes back, we can get it again. Guess what? It broke down. But what didn't I do here? What was the mistake I made here? I didn't wait for confirmation. This is later in the day. I should have waited for confirmation. So I ended up stopping out. Once we rejected here, I went ahead and grabbed it on the rejection. We weren't coming back. We were going into the last 30 minutes of the day. Look at the trend. So this would have been a really quick stop if it turned around and took the high out. But it didn't. We got it. Hit the first target. But it kind of messed around until the end of the day. And went ahead and cleaned it up. Didn't look like it was going to sell off. It still hasn't sold off. So, that was the right thing to do. So this one, I was hoping would be a one shot, one kill, and I could just ride this all day. But unfortunately, it took me out at break even. And I just kept getting taken out at break even after the first hit. Some days, this is the price action you're going to get. I mean, it is what it is. Can't do anything about it. But here's what I saw. Okay, when we're looking at, here's the trade here. This is what the 60-minute candle chart is for. This is what we were looking at. We were under the 225.65 level. We had taken this out on the 5-minute chart and confirmed it. Look at the window down we had to the lower linear regression channel. This is the next level of support we would run into. So, why wouldn't I think we couldn't sell off down toward 223? I mean, it was a beautiful setup, perfect, but we ran into support and it got ate up. So look at the candlesticks. No way I'm going to sit there and hold this. I can get out and then turn around and get back in, and that's what we did. And because looking at the 60-minute chart is clean and green. The Bollinger Band is opening up and is tracking down, which means there is selling pressure there. So, everything about this was, perfect to me. But it just didn't work out. Not every perfect trade is going to work out. We saw that earlier on Microsoft. Perfect. But it didn't work. You just have to be ready that if it sets up again, nail it. So for the third day in a row, $600 day. We barely grabbed 600 today. But first, 3 days in a row. I'm not having any trouble right now with Thinkorswim. Not Thinkorswim, with TD Ameritrade and DOS. I'm not having any issues with them right now that we had before. So as long as it continues, I would rather day trade in TD and not pay commissions. Even though it's not that big of a deal, it's a mental thing. It gets in your mind. But if there's a really good trade opportunity and they don't have any shorts available, then I'll probably switch to IB and day trade in it. I have multiple strategies and I use them, different strategies in different accounts. So, if I have to flip-flop one day, then that's what we'll do. But for right now, I'm happy. So it's only been 3 days, but I'm happy so far. All right, so I think that wraps it up. You guys have a great night, and we'll get back at this thing, see if we can start closing these last 2 days of the week out strong. And, give me something to celebrate over the weekend. So take it easy, stay safe, have a good night, and I'll see you guys in the morning.